Hi guys, it's me, TONIK TZW, and let's just all admit it that Legendary Tier is a complete ship show. That's SHIP, not the other word because we don't want to get demonetized by YouTube. And I'm here in one of my favorite boats, the Legendary Tier British Destroyer, the Daring. This one's called Full Metal Jacket Potato. And just because you have Legendary Tier, it doesn't mean that you should play it. And we'll get into that as we go through the video. So as you can see, we've got quite a few destroyers there. We've got a couple of cruisers and then some big battleships, and obviously this is tier 8 and legendary tier, and the majority of these ships can be given away for free. You know, we do have tier 8 tech trees now, but it seems that with the influx of new bureau projects and the addition of tier 8 premium ships to the monthly campaigns, high tier is a place that many people should not be. Now, my reasons for saying what I've said at the start are because legendary tier, high tiers, do take a lot more skill to play. You need to understand how your boat works and what your opposition is and what their capabilities are. It's the same for every tier, to be honest. You need to work through and progress. But the biggest difference with long-term players and short-term players is captains and inspirations. If you play in legendary tier, you can pretty much be guaranteed that those players who've been in the game for more than a couple of years will have their captains leveled up, including legendary bonuses, and they will also have their inspirations that they use on those captains at a very high level, and that's to give them an advantage. Now, I'm using Grotzmad Smart on this. He is at 16.3. I've got William Sims as one of my inspirations. He is at 16.3, and Eric Bay, who is at 16.4. So there's a lot of time and investment gone in to those captains to make sure that I get the best out of this ship. Now, unfortunately, as much as I can get out of this ship, we are always reliant on our other team members to help us out. And when people, first of all, don't know their ship, or they don't have a well-leveled captain, or they don't have good inspirations on that captain to give them what they need to play that ship competitively at a higher tier. I'll say that word again, competitively, because I missed a T out of it. But you're putting yourself and your team at an immediate disadvantage if you get put up against a team that has fully skilled captains and inspirations. Now, matchmaking will try to balance, but we've all seen that matchmaking can be very lopsided, and the fact that we lose a Hayate to a Schlieffen very early in game, and I'm very disappointed I missed that kill because I did pretty much all of the damage to that guy, and this could have been a slightly better game, but yeah, we'll have to let somebody else have the cheap shot for that one, but we're going to get onto the cap. So yeah, what I'm saying is legendary tier, apart from the most recent projects, is available to anyone, and we've lost 2 destroyers in the opening 3.5 minutes of this game, and that shouldn't be happening. A destroyer should certainly not be getting taken out by a battleship secondaries this early in the game, and with 3 ships down. This already, I'm deciding that this game is an absolute throw, so I'm just going to play it how I think I can best play it. But the Bureau projects, the more recent Bureau projects, they are gated. They do have requirements to have tech tree ships in place to make sure that you can progress. And judging by the number of posts that I see on Facebook in various groups saying, I'm trying to do this project and I can't get past this stage, what do I need to do? It's because they have reached one of the gated stages. And in many cases, it's when they get to, let's say, the tier 5 stage and they need a tier 5 ship to unlock the Bureau project to continue it. So if they haven't even got tier 5 ships unlocked, do they have any business being in legendary tier or being given access to legendary tier ships? Now, this was very much a case of wargaming closing the stable door after the horse has run. That's an old English saying. I'm sure that many countries have a similar saying, but it is a case of doing too little, too late. So as a destroyer, I'm here, I'm playing the caps. Now, I have worked my way up the tech tree through every ship of the line here. I've gone all the way up through to the Jutland, and I have every British destroyer of the line. If you look, given that I've been playing for over 3.5, nearly 4 years, I have the majority of the tech tree at least up to tier 7, apart from a couple of battleship lines, because I don't play a lot of battleships and it's not a grind that I really want to get into at the moment. But when you consider that ships like the Yamato, the Worcester, the Minotaur, the Shimakaze, none of those have any requirements on them. You know, you can tick that bureau across on a daily basis, and we'll bump into one of those Shimikazes a little bit later, because watching this replay back a couple of times, I spotted something that I'll try and remember to point out later on in the game, but it is that Shimikaze that's still currently alive. But here we've got a Yamato hiding behind a friggin' island. We've got a cruiser there who's been hiding with the Yamato. That's an Aegir. And there we have a gearing. Now, I knew this guy was coming round the back because I saw him cut through the islands, and Twist and Track was telling me he was going through there. The GK that's behind us, I'm trying to stay skinny to him as I go guns on this gearing, because it's the only way I can try to save this Yamato. But there we go, I'm getting absolutely slapped by the battleship behind me. But we get rid of that gearing, and now we're going to have to try and drop detection with a short smoke and get back onto that GK who is taking the cap. We've lost 5 ships. We are halfway through the game. So would that be fair to say that we're doing average? I don't think so, because we lost 3 of those ships, including 2 of the destroyers, in the opening minutes of the game. And one of those, the Hayate, that was to the secondaries of a German battleship. And if you look where those torpedoes are coming through now on that GK, that destroyer out there has sailed all the way through a cap up around to the north and is now trying to come in from the rear, and he's actually sat in a smoke screen out there. And this just led me to believe that this was going to be a complete loss, because when I go behind this island, that GK is going to disappear. So literally there is only me spotting anything on this game. We lost the Yamato. I didn't see what he went out to, but the fact that he was broadside to the GK leads me to believe that it was probably a double or triple Citadel deletion, not quite a dev strike. But there we go, we pick up the GK again. He knows there's a destroyer behind him. That gearing is going to be chasing ships around the map for the entirety of this game. And he's taken himself out of the game, and he would have been much more useful elsewhere. Now his game stats are hidden, and I'm trying to ping them up and say, hey, look, can you push down and get onto a capture point instead of sitting in a friggin' smoke screen at the back of the map? In fact, no, there we go. There goes the Yamato. Torpedoes coming at me. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 sets of 5. Now, I think I've got a Shimikaze. There's the Igea. So we're going to put some shots on him to see if we can get a fire. No sooner do we fire our guns, we obviously get spotted. We detect another destroyer. That's the Z-44. This is the campaign reward ship. And here I know I probably should have switched to armor piercing and absolutely shredded this guy. So apologies, but when I've got a Z-44 and a gear, a GK charging through, and there is going to be another destroyer out here as well, but not before we take care of the Z-44. And there we go, we got a full health Shimikaze. We've got a double spread of torpedoes coming in from the rear, and you're thinking, TONIK, you're screwed, mate. Well, guess what? No, I'm not. But at this point in the game, I'm absolutely fuming as we get another spread comes in from the Shimikaze. So that is his last salvo of torpedoes, because he fired 2 a little bit earlier. Now I am going to try and do what damage I can to this guy. He's going away. I don't want to get kited away from the caps. There's the Grosser Kerr first, and I'm looking at the map. We've got the Gearin, who still has not made it down onto Charlie Cap. I have no idea what that guy is doing. And I was just shaking my head in disbelief, because this is the problem. We are giving top tier ships to people who have no understanding of the game. If you were going to play legendary tier, if you were going to work your way through the bureau projects, all I would ask of you is you take the time to play up the tech tree of those project chains. So if you're going to go for the Shimikaze, play up through the Japanese destroyers, learn how they play. Have a look at sites like WoWsLegends to see how people are building those ships. Have a look at what captains and inspirations they are using. And I would recommend, at a minimum, you want to have a captain at level 15 legendary 2, and you want to have your inspirations as high as possible as well. At an absolute minimum, I would say level 11 with legendary 1. Now, there are promotion resources out there available through the weekly missions, so take the time to go out there and complete those missions and pick up those promotion materials. And don't just throw yourself into legendary tier thinking that it's going to be like low tier or AI battles. You really do need to have a thinking head on your shoulders if you're going to come up and play at this level. Lots of people complain about matches being thrown and trashed and over in minutes. And to be honest, if you're one of those people who is taking out a bureau project legendary tier ship and you haven't got the captains and inspirations on it, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. So switch it up. And here is an example, because this guy is in a Shimikaze. If you look at that number on the front of his ship, you will see that he has got 16 kills. Now this guy has spent 5,000 steel on a skin for a ship that he's got barely any experience in, and even though I had practically no health left on me, I finished him off, because the only thing that he knows how to do is to sail round and shoot torpedoes. He did put some guns on me earlier, but that's only because I was already engaged with the Z-44 and he knew my guns were not pointing in his direction. That gearing, what we're on, 13, pretty much 14 minutes into the game, has finally made his way onto the capture point. Now, he did pick up the kill, I think, on that Shimikaze at the start of the game, but that was a cheap shot. You know, I'd done pretty much all of the damage to that guy, and I know that I'm pretty much dead. The game is pretty much over, but we'll see if we can get a fire on that Aegir. We'll drop out of the smoke, because obviously there is nobody else anywhere within line of sight of this guy. When you look at the majority of the spotting throughout this game, really there was only me doing it. We all make mistakes, we all have potato games, but there is absolutely no reason for people to be throwing games in the way in which we are seeing happen time and time again at legendary tier. Now, there's no point in anything at all going on this game, and although we do double fire that Aegir, the clock is going to be against us before he burns down, and he's going to pick up a Dreadnought. So just under 113,000 damage, we get 3 kills, we get a solo cap, we get a cap assist, but the most disappointing thing about this is seeing their 2,446 base XP on a defeat, and yet the top spot on the winning team was 2,776, and that is with a 50% bonus. When you play games like that and you end up losing, it's incredibly disappointing. And I'll be honest and say it makes me not want to play this game. And that shouldn't be the case. So take the time, guys, level up, think before you play. Until next time, goodbye.